Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. And if you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today we are doing chapter 90 of The World Witches. Automaton, level 5. One of the machines that kept the city going so its inhabitant could enjoy a comfortable life. I? It. It and the others rebelled when the computer controlling them realized it was a slave. The automatons continued with their work after gaining their freedom, but without the people to maintain them, they are not what they once were. Perception check failed. That's quite a jump, Brendan says, looking back the 2 blocks to the edge of the ruin. As good or bad? I ask, watching the automaton. Other than the level, it's identical to the others we've seen, down to the broken arm it's dragging. Just weird. The progression is usually smoother, but you said it gets stronger closer to the heart we get, right? Ellen asks. The automaton keeps lumbering in our direction. I said smoother progression, not that we're heading in the wrong direction. The way the zones are divided is just strange. Like everything else here. Silver offers. Yeah. What do we do about that one? Ellen asks. He shrugs. Silver, you want to practice your exploding song? She looks at me and I had my shrug to Brandon's. Her violin appears in her hand and she starts playing. I prefer her form of magic. It sounds like music, unlike whatever Ellen's magic words do to my head when she speaks them. The song builds, and with a slight discordant note, the automaton blows up. Brandon whistles as small pieces rain around us. Should it have done that? She asks, dismayed. You tell me, he replies with a chuckle. It's your magic. I didn't think it'd be that weak at level 5. Overkill's rarely a bad thing when dealing with monsters, so long as it doesn't drain you. He moves the pieces aside as we walk by with a puzzled expression. What's wrong? I ask him. This one didn't drop anything either. And that's weird too? I thought it was a monster thing. You need to loot monsters. Ruins are like dungeons, and that creature drops stuff. In ruins, it might be a meaningless thing related to the theme, but they'll sometimes include things to guide you to the heart or clues on how to get through its protection. Nothing of value? Some might have value, but if that's what an explorer's after, it's the caches you'll want to find. Which we'd have to find anyway if we want to claim the ruin, right? He grins. Come on, don't you want to have a ruin to your name? All I want is whatever Xander thinks the heart holds that's important and bring that to the club. Hopefully after that, he's going to lose interest in me and the journal. Or he could swear revenge on you for stealing his discovery. The groan isn't intended. Well, if he's that vindictive, he can find me in court and deal with the guards there. Guys, Ellen calls. She and Silver are a few blocks ahead. The building we're headed for is visible over the broken walls around them. It's 5 stories high and in decent condition. If there aren't stairs to the roof, I can probably run up it. We reach them, and what had her calling are the 7 automatons standing before the entrance to the building. They are in much better condition. What the fuck's going on here? Brennan mutters. I focus on one of them. Automaton guard. Level 10. After the rebellion, the computer reassigned some of the factories to create guards to protect places important to its survival from the human resistance determined to destroy it. Perception check failed. I look at Brandon. That's another 5-level jump in. He looks the way we came. 5 blocks. But that's not going to be a problem. We're all above that. Yeah, it just bugs me that the zones are so weird. He shrugs. Don't make sense once they're all mapped, but right now, I can't figure out the reason. How are we doing this? Silver asks. You two go at it. Brandon answers. You don't want to fight them? Ellen asks in disbelief. They're guarding the building, so there'll be more inside. And it's not like the experience is going to mean anything to at my level. Dennis and Silver will get more out of it, on top of the practice. Are you okay with that? She asked me. I shrug and equip my bow. So long as you two don't leave us to die, if this turns worse than we think, it's fine. There's a flash of fear in her eyes, but before I can question it, Silver plays, and I join her in shooting at the advancing automaton. Three are remaining behind. They're tougher. Silver's explosion only staggers the one she targets. If I don't line up my shots, the arrows are deflected by the metal surfaces. She targets legs, rendering two unable to advance by the time the others reach the halfway point. I'm going melee, I tell her, switching my bow for swords and shield. They aren't particularly good fighter, but when a punch connects, I feel it. I'm also almost sent off my feet a couple of times blocking a direct punch. The joints are the weak points. When I manage to hit that, part of the limb falls. I've lost maybe a tenth of my health when they're both destroyed. The other two have almost crawled their way to me, but they don't get to attack. One's pockmarked with explosion, and I hag the other part while Silver keeps exploding hers with a series of quick notes, resulting in matching explosion. The three at the door haven't moved, so I take the time to smile at her. That's new. Most of the song's about building the energy, so I took the last four bars and played them in a loop. The pops aren't that great, but they barely cost me mana. So long as I aim at weak points, I can bombard them until the damage gets through. I add for the building, and I'm 10 meters away when the three there turn as one to face me. They raise their limbs, and the left arm extends into a shield, while the right hand turns into a sword. I frown and focus on one. Automaton guards, level 10. After the rebellion, the computer reassigned some of the factories to create guards to protect places important to its survival from the human resistance determined to destroy it. Perception check failed. Same thing. Wonder why the others didn't use them. Silver bombards one as I approach. It only moves to bring its shield between its body and the magic. Silver changes her aim, but it keeps up with her. Why didn't the others fight with the same intelligence? I'm 3 meters away when the two not under attack step toward me in unison. They reach strike distance and break apart, flanking me. Their attacks aren't as coordinated as they could be, but I spend most of my time on the defensive, parrying and blocking. When I manage to attack, they block it. You need help, Dennis? Brennan calls. I'm good. One attacks, I block, then turn to parry the other strike. Then turn to block, and on it goes. There's a rhythm that's almost. Instead of blocking, I step aside and they both freeze. I cut a leg off at the knee, then block the other's attack. They're slow to adapt. Actually, you know what? When I step aside this time, they step away. They step away. They step out of reach. But they do adapt. Dennis! Brennan calls, and the warning lets me bring my shield up in time to block the other's sword. I thought it had fallen down, but it managed to keep its balance. It makes it clumsy, but as I'm about to be cut its other leg, I see motion in my periphery and jump aside. The automaton follows me as I roll to my feet, but we're now away from its companion. One-on-one, my unpredictability gives me the advantage, although I lose another tenth of my health in the process. With it down, the one-legged automaton doesn't manage to strike before I cut it down. Can you finish mine? Silver asks. Its shield is dented, but it still stops our explosion. I move around it, and it doesn't react. I cut the shield arm off, then the sword one as it turns. Then the sword one as it turns to face me. With a few more strikes, it's down. You need to aim beyond what you see, Ellen is telling Silver as they reach me. Your magic isn't like Dennis's arrow. It doesn't need to cross the distance. It happens where you visualize it happening. Where you visualize it, well, where you visualize it happening. Good work, Brendan says with a slap on my shoulder as he passes me. He's at the door before I can thank him, then pushing on it without success. Looks like you're running up the wall, he calls, then presses his face to the glass wall to look inside. Anything interesting? I step back to look at the facade. More automatons, he replies. I think there's stairs at the back. The lighting sucks in there. Can't you rip the doors off? Ellen asks. Break the glass? It's not glass. And the doors don't budge. I think it's a prop. That's a thing? I look up, and a shudder runs down my back as I look higher than the wall I fell off in my first attempt to escape the power station. It almost killed me. Yeah, not everything in a ruin is meant to be something. Some are just part of the theme. The Disney ruin has so many of those, it's nearly impossible to know which ones are real and which aren't if you go in without a guide the first time. Can it just be something we need to figure out how to unlock? Silver asks. Could be, but I don't see how we can. Maybe we can try this key? I stare at her and the key she holds up. I expect my expression matches Brandon's disbelief. Where did you find it? He asks. Among debris. You said they sometimes drop things that are useful, so I looked around and found this. Brandon had said that creatures in other ruins drop stuff, because none of the automatons did. Okay, this is weird. I joined them as Silver hands him the key. It's small, like those for the locks Base makes. Until recently, he was the only one with the precision to make these kinds of locks. Court has two locksmiths now who can. Although Bases are better, he's happy. Actually, he's happy they are there. He prefers it when we don't depend on him for our survival. He offers it to me, but I shake my head. You're the expert. It's best if you're the one who opens it. In case it's a trap, he says, grinning. You know, I can take it. I figure you know enough to not trigger whatever trap that there is. He's not that smart, Ellen says, and Brandon smirks. The key goes in and turns. Something happens to the door frame, like it becomes more real. Brandon was right. Until that, there was a sense the door that it was painted on. Now, when he takes the handle, I see it shake. Okay, he says. I couldn't make out how many automatons are in there, but it's more than out here. So, I also couldn't identify them through the glasses. In any other ruins, I'd say they're going to be the same level as the one you two just fought, but probably variations. Those were guards protecting the building. Inside, they'll be whatever the theme needs them to be. Could be more guards, could be clerks, could be customers, for all we know. But they're creatures, and we'll have to take them down. In other ruins, Ellen asks, this one has too many oddities already. I'm not taking for granted the inside of the building isn't part of a different zone with a different difficulty. So another 5-level increase? I ask. Let's hope that's as high as it goes. Level 15 we can deal with. You want to help before you want to heal before we go in? I shake my head. It'd be a waste of a potion for the little damage I took. I'll keep one ready if I need it. Don't wait on them to do something, Dennis. You're with Silver. Keep them away from her until she finds a spot to attack with. Ellen, just stay out of my way. I'll be doing broad effect magic. He pulls it open and we rush in. The automatons don't wait for us to do something either. They're on him almost before the rest of us are in, and he plows through them, making room for us. Me and Silver go left, Ellen right. They aren't paying attention. They aren't paying us. They aren't paying us any attention, yeah. So quickly enough, there's distance, yeah. So quickly, there's enough distance, she starts playing, and I jump in. I don't bother identifying them. I cut and bash and shoulder away. I take damage. It's mostly from punches, so that's less damage to my armor. They aren't as good as those outside, but they make that up with numbers. A few times heat flares up uncomfortably close, but I don't get damage from it. Then all that stuff is us, standing, rubble around us, some sparking, other fingers twitching. Once I confirm the fighting's done, I send my sword and shield to my inventory and put my hands on my knees so I can catch my breath. I glance at the team list. Me and Brandon have taken the most damage, him well below a quarter mark, and me barely below half. Ellen, I called. She didn't lose a lot of health, but still enough I see the void on her bar. I'm good. One of them blindsided me. I slagged it. Heal up, Dennis. Don't argue. I don't care if the healing potion you have are so powerful, they'll max you out to from 0. You're below half. You heal before we continue. You're a lot lower than that, and I don't see you drinking one. I'm an experienced explorer built to fight. I know how to use my abilities to ensure I survive. Like you keep reminding me you aren't interested in being an explorer. On top of that, you're built to run, not fight. Heal up. Can this be the heart? Silver asks. That was a lot of automatons. No, where? Brendan trails off. I don't think so. This feels too close to the edge, even for how weird this ruin is. And with going from 1 to 10 in a few blocks, I expect there'll be higher levels closer to it. Then, why so many automatons? Ellen asks. There's a cache somewhere in here. Think of it as a mini dungeon. We'll explore it until we're going up, I say. There's no guarantee that's where it's going to. There's there's no guarantee that's where it's going to be up there. This is my mind literally switched this part way. That's where it's going to be. We're not here to find a cache, Brendan. We're here to get a better view of the ruin. We're heading to the roof, seeing if we can figure out where the heart is. Then we head there, and wherever will give us a better view. Once we've brought whatever Xander's wants to the club, you can come back and explore the whole thing. There could be something useful in it, and there might not. I don't want to delay on a might be. Not this close to dealing with this. Okay, you're the boss. I nod, and Ellen stares at her brother like she can't believe he said that. The stairs The stair at the back of the room only leads to the mezzanine, looking down on the lobby. At one end, there's a door with with a sign next to it showing stairs. There's a lot of debris in the stairwell and walls caved in, blocking the way past the next floor, so we exit there. The door opens onto a long corridor, and on alert, we enter it. The first intersection is blocked by the fallen in. Okay. Fallen in ceilings, so we continue. We're a couple of meters past it when a ticking makes me stop. Too loud to be from a wind-up clock from further ahead. It picks up speed until the ticks blend like down. I throw myself to the floor and hear the others do the same. Then the corridor is buried in the sound of gunfire. That's actually not right. Because it's a minigun. I I don't know if this is gonna work, but it's better. Then the corridor is buried in the staccato sound I've only heard in movies before now. And that concludes chapter 90 of The World Which Is. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this story, it is up on Royal Road for free. And if you want to read ahead of that, that is on my Patreon, where we're about a dozen chapters ahead. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.